Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. Now, I'm not happy, but at the same time, you have to look at that game that happened on Thursday, and you look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes. So get your drinks and come on back and relax. We'll be right back in a moment.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Welcome back to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. I got my partners in crimes here. Mike Shake and Bake Baker, who said he could hit a baseball. Cool Breeze, Gary the C. Clark. And then you got Donald Hopkins, the one that loves to throw everybody up on the bus. How you guys doing?
Good,
You're
good.
great,
Wow,
Tony, but that's not the truth.
How can you be doing well with the situation the team is in now? They let Dallas beat them, but they didn't let Dallas beat them. Dallas beat them. And when you look back at Dallas and you look at who the all-star was, Vernon Davis, he had 2 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. But other than that, no one showed up to me.
You know what's really interesting, and you guys can pile on, you know, at the beginning of the year, remember the Redskins were lucky to sign Orlando Scandrick. He was going to be their slot corner, a lot of veteran presence in the secondary. They paid him, Tony, $1 million as a signing bonus, and then he had a 2-year deal worth $10 million. They brought him in, and at the last minute, Jay Gruden said, you know, I think we're going to be okay with Johnson and another kid called Texado. And we're going to have enough there for slot corner. We really don't need Scandrick, so they cut him. Guess who he's starting for, Tony? He's across the field from Fuller. They're the 2 starting corners for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you know, Fabian Moreau got really torched twice in the Dallas game at that corner slot. That could have been Scandrick. That was the dumbest thing the Redskins did all preseason.
But Tony, Tony, I'm not even going to buy that with Mike, because the thing about it is that's one player. It was more players in there that got beat because of poor tackling. And in the last 4 games, the Redskins' run defense has gone south somewhere because they've given up like 154 yards, 103, 139, 146. And then per game, they're giving up 429 yards. So if you tackle well, guess what? 2 of those touchdowns come back. So it's just the poor play of the defense right now.
Yeah. But wait a minute. This show has, for 34 years, we've always started with the offense. So why you guys jump on the defense? Now, the defense is one of the top ones in
Not
the
anymore.
league. You're going to jump on them because they had a bad game. Let's talk about the Redskins not being able to run the ball.
Yeah,
got one of the best running backs there. He can't get over 3 or 4 yards. Then you have receivers that can't get open all the time. You got a different one each game. You got to have
Tony.
He had too much pride.
The defense is supposed to get up how many points in a game?
17.
Well, wait. I'm
just asking a question.
Only Tony, we got jumped because Mike talked about
I'm just asking a question.
17 points per game.
How many points did they give up?
Let's count the games, how many times they've been over that.
How many points did they give up?
But Gary, when we said the defense scored 17, we said the offense need to score what now?
But Tony, more than 17, 18 points or more. How many points did we score? I'm just saying. All right, I'm just saying.
Counting a little bit now, but I tell you what, we will jump to the defense. You guys are exactly right. That's why I'm frustrated. but then we must revert back to the offense. Had they been able to run the ball as Dallas was able to run, that would have took a lot of pressure off of Coach. Yes, he was out there, and you know he would be a little rusty because he haven't played in 4 or 5 years, but he need better protection. Now, when you talk about the defense, when you can come up with 5 sacks on Dallas and you can't get no points on the other side of the ball, I think we need to go back to talking about the offense.
But if we
first.
go ahead, if we move ahead in the game, then we're never supposed to give the lead back. If we move forward and score and we go ahead, we're not supposed to ever lose the lead again.
He is not letting you off the hook.
I'm just saying.
But you know what?
If I score 18 points, I win.
But Tony, you're right.
You're right. And you know what, G? I'm with you on that. And you know what? I as well as they played, I've seen situations where I don't feel good about them. And one was allowing Dallas to run that ball, knowing that they were going to come in and run the ball and not being able to stop them. But I do like the way the pass rush was going that day. But at the same time, looked like our defensive backs in disarray. Jump to the other side of the ball. We know you got a new quarterback. You got 2 or 3 new offensive linemen. But one thing I have always thought was the truth. When you can't pass the ball and you got new linemen, you run the ball. And they did not do that.
Well, Tony, you know what? I'm going to give that to you because I'm going to hop back on the offense because they didn't do their job either because Colt McCoy.
We scored more than 18 points.
But Colt McCoy talked about the fact
we
that
scored more
they
than 18
needed
points.
to run the ball,
We
Tony.
did all those bad things and we still scored more than 18 points.
But they didn't run the ball. And Colt McCoy, Tony, hadn't really been with the first unit all last week, week before Dallas to get prepared. So
so that tells you my defense should be even more prepared because we don't have these things working for us on offense.
I'm not letting the offense off the hook either.
They got,
But you know what, though, Gary? You have a point, but at the same time, the offense don't need to put their offense
I can't score, go ahead, and then immediately have that lead get diminished.
We're kind of we're joking about this, but at the same
I'm
time,
not joking.
We've hit the problem. And right now, they'll have to fix that problem because they're 6-5. They're right in the middle of the pack, but there's so many teams in this NFC that's 6-5.
Yeah.
So what they have to do as a team is what we have to do next segment is we got to stick together. So speaking of that, when we take this break, let's see what Coach had to say in the locker room about how he felt at the team.
Some things I wish I had back. Being able to be coachable and understand, what I need to do to help us move the ball. I think we've got to run the ball better. I think that we struggled running the ball today, and anytime we can get that going a little bit, that adds an extra dynamic to what we're trying to do. So I just think across the board, there's things we can clean up. And again, as much as it is for me, I think it's for them too. I'm letting balls go early. I'm giving them a chance to make plays, and I've got to trust that they're going to do that. And I think we'll work on that this week.
Tony, good news. The Redskin Magazine Inc. Minority Scholarship Contest is back again this year, and we're encouraging all seniors to submit essays on the subject. Do you think the Voting Rights Act of 1965 impacts your rights today? Why or why not? And you can submit your essays to redmagplus.com. Once on the website, you go to Youth Sideline. That gives you all the instructions on the essay, how to submit it, and all we can say is they're great prizes, so best of luck to all the writers out there.
Well, you know what, guy? I'm a little bit surprised as you guys are. I mean, the people in the studio there, they jump right on the defense. They act like this offense is putting up points. Even when they've been winning, this offense barely get over 20 points, and they're supposed to be hogs #2, and they're supposed to be throwing the ball around, but it's not happening. But you know what? When you look at wins, you look at the losses the same way. It's the whole team. Special teams, once again, might feel like they're doing their job and everything, but they're not producing some points. So you look at everything that they need this year, guys. They need each and every segment to do something good.
Well, I just wanted to throw one last thing in, if you don't mind, on defense. Some of the high-level prognosticators like yourself have looked at this defensive front seven, and they say they lack speed on the outside in the linebacking core, Tony.
Well, wait a minute, Mike.
I'm sorry, but the other teams, guys like you had phenomenal speed.
Mike. Hey, Mike, you know what? You're not that far away. Jerry, hand him here. You know what? Why you going to put in what I said? Look at that
I'm just saying that
you just want to throw me under the bus.
I tell you what,
that defense was
you had 4.4 speed.
In the top 10.
That you had 4.4 speed as a linebacker.
They were, Tony.
These are slow linebackers. Other than Marcus, everybody else is slow. Other than Zach Brown, everybody else is slow to the ball. And the other teams have figured this out.
I don't think so. Okay. I think that they're reading their situation, and you have to look at it's one thing to get to the ball fast and make a play. It's one thing to get to the ball too fast and miss a play. So maybe they're not as fast as other linebackers, but if they're doing their assignments, that's where I would.
I just want them to make the play.
Yeah.
Make the play. Hey, whether you're slow or you're fast, because I see some people that get there quick and miss the play, and I see some guy gets there slow and miss the play. So at the end of the day, I just want them to make a play.
Why are you guys so hard on the defense?
I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking about the defense. I'm talking about the offense and the defense and the special teams. You cannot go into Dallas. You cannot do that. When you got, if you win that game, it pretty much seals the division for you. You got 2 wins over Dallas. It seals the win, and you come up and you don't win that game. There are certain games that you got to put everything aside and win that. So I'm just a little salty that they lost the game. So I apologize.
And Tony,
I'm a little salty about that.
I'm not going to apologize.
You're supposed to be. Maybe Phil and them should be salty.
I'm back on the defense, Tony. I'm not going to apologize because you said that they were on top. That was used to be. In the last 4 weeks, they have not been. Execution is all I hear from the players after the game is over. We have to execute. We have to execute. By now, you should be able to execute. And like Gary was saying, they're running to plays. And then if a guy misses, the other guy is flat-footed because he thinks this guy is, instead of them keeping moving. That's the things that I'm seeing on defense too, Tony. And I'm not apologizing like Gary.
Unknowing to you guys, in the 70s, I played on the team, Chicago Bears. We would run, the offense would be able to run 90 plays against us, and we would hold them down, the defense would. But it was all because our offense wasn't keeping the ball. So you guys need to reflect back a little bit and look back.
But Tony, you already said that we were scoring 20 points, so a little bit over 20 points or more. And you've also already said that the defense is supposed to keep them to 17 points or less.
And Tony,
we put the offense in the
I'm just trying to say.
Those points, to get that
but I scored 20 points. I'm supposed to win,
but
right?
Tony and Colt McCoy was just his first game out, so you expect some rust right there. So
no, he still scored 20 over 20 points.
Well, now, if you're talking offense or defense, we've mixed it up so much. Let's talk a little bit about Philadelphia on Monday night. Tony, if the Washington Redskins cannot beat a team that's lost 4 of their 5 defensive backs, there's no hope in heaven.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, come on, Tony.
Not necessarily, because look at the Washington Redskins, the team has lost 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. So that's happening all over the league. You can't take them lightly because they've lost the defensive backs, because they have improved with Bennett up on that defensive line, and they still got the tenacity up there to rush the quarterback. And their quarterback right now is in his 2nd year, and you have to take a look at him. The league has had a year to look at him, so they found out his weaknesses. So that's why they're not doing as well. And if you remember, last year was sort of an aberration with them because they had so many turnovers and everything went their way. Gary, as you know, that's what had to happen at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean,
hey, I got a call coming in, y'all. I guess we're going to
who's calling you?
Are you?
The defense.
Tell him to call back.
Are you getting a coaching call?
Yeah, it's the NFL.
The NFL's calling?
They calling you about the defense.
Yeah. Tony, I just want to know, in my contract, you said that I couldn't take phone calls on the show. How can you take a phone call on the show?
Well, this is important. This is the league calling, and they saying, Donna, you're too hard on the defense. You always want to ride them. And Gary, they said that in the offense, but you guys only scored 20 points a game when you were going to the Super Bowl. Come on, guys.
No, that was somebody calling for help.
You know,
hey, that was somebody calling for help for the defense.
Can I ask you, Tony, about
trying to get some play? You know what? Well, what does special team do, Mike? I'm surprised you haven't talked about them. Now,
well, you
jumped all the way over the offense, over the special team, to jump in the defense. What did the special teams do?
I like this special teams unit, Tony. We have one of the best place kickers in the league, one of the best, a Pro Bowl punter. And let's not forget, last week Johnson had a 40-yard kickoff return. We were averaging, right? We were averaging on punt returns. We averaged 20 yards in punt returns. I think there were 3 or 4. So this special teams unit is a real plus for the Washington Redskins. Have they scored?
We're averaging 20 yards of punt return?
Yeah, they averaged 20.
Okay, well,
know that,
right,
did
they had 3 or 4. They averaged 20 yards,
you
yeah.
sold the deal, Mike.
Really?
Special team did a little
That's
bit.
impressive.
But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about this Philadelphia team that's coming in as a wounded warrior. And I tell you what, they may be someone, you going down there on a Monday night, you know how tough it can be. So we'll get on that when we come back.
It would have been great if we won, but feel a whole lot better, but we didn't. And so now we got to sit on that until Monday night. It's kind of crazy, but at the end of the day, that's all we have. That's all we got, and we can't do anything about that until we get the chance to go back out there and prove ourselves and who we really are. And we get to do that with the Eagles on Monday night, and everything else, we're going to put to bed.
I'm at the swing joint telling people that Geico's been offering savings for over 75 years. That's longer than the buffalo wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. No, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. Oh, this is too hot, mate.
Well, you know what, guys? We've done everything talking about the Washington Redskins this week. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles Monday night. You remember the body bag game. Those guys are pretty tough there. These guys are hurting right now. They're still a dangerous team. What do our team, the Washington Redskins, need to do to defeat this team? I say run the ball and run it a ton.
I'm trying to figure out why you bringing up the body bag game.
Yeah.
That has horrible memories for me, Tony. Why would you bring that
game up?
Wait a minute,
that's what y'all did with my defense earlier. So
Buddy Ryan's been gone from the league a long time.
Wow, body bag game.
You know, Tony, last year was interesting. Carson Wentz pretty much said that Philadelphia was a beast of the East, and of course they went on and to prove themselves literally the Super Bowl champ. Zach Ertz said this week that the season is theirs and still in front of them. That aggravates me to see Philadelphia players say this, and I don't hear that out of the Washington Redskins.
Well, I guess they are confident that it's still wide open with the NFC East, Tony. But looking at the Eagles, the Giants, the Redskins need to take a page from them. In the first half, they ran the ball, just like you said, and then they attacked that secondary that's beat up. But then in the second half, they went away from the strength, which was running the ball, and guess what? The Eagles win the game. So I'm like you. The Redskins really must establish the running game, and then I would attack that secondary of the Eagles too.
Yep.
And you know what, Mike? I got to disagree with one thing. It doesn't burn me up that the Washington Redskins do not say we're still in it. They're supposed to be saying, how do we eliminate these guys? Right now, you're going for the playoffs, and you want to eliminate people. So you don't worry about how are we still in it or we still got a chance. You worry about how are we going to dominate this? How are we going to put them out of their misery and win our division?
And it starts with preparation. Again, it starts with preparation. You know, if I'm going to prepare to kick somebody's butt, they're not going to prepare to kick somebody's
right,
butt.
G.
You know, and you got to put in the work. There's no easy way to go about winning championships. There's no easy way of going about winning your divisions. There's no easy way of going about winning Super Bowls. At the end of the day, you have to put in the work, and everybody has to bind in to put in the work. Like, not just the receivers, not just the DBs, not just the offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Everybody as a team, they come together, and individually, they put in the work to prepare themselves to take on that next challenge, to kick somebody's butt.
DJ Swearinger, for the fourth time, Tony, since he's been with the squad, has called out some of the players for their lack of preparation and for their lack of study. What does this mean when a player of this prominence says this? Is it a reflection on the coaching staff? Is it a reflection on the players? Is it a reflection on their productivity? What does this mean?
It's a reflection on the players.
Okay.
Right.
It's like your teacher telling you to do homework and you don't do the homework. It's not the teacher's fault.
I did do my homework.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a reflection on, it's not a reflection on the coaches. As players, we've been playing this game our whole life. It's our job to go out there and know more than specifically if the coach hasn't played. I'm not saying this is the case for the Redskins or anybody else, but a lot of times you'll have a position coach who knows less than you because he never played your position. I'm not saying this is happening with the Redskins or not happening with the Redskins. I'm just saying in general. So it's always on the player.
You know, G is right. G is 100% right about that. It's a reflection on the players, and not just the players. The older players that's been here longer than the young guy now that's telling everybody what to do. So right now, you don't need anybody to have to encourage you to do your job. You go out there and win your division. We'll be back in a moment to wrap this bad boy up, but I hope they don't be so hard on my defense. Oh, we'll be back. Oh, gone, y'all. What's up?
2,500 yards later.
And now New Faces with Adam Batacci.
Welcome to New Faces. In this week's segment, we talk about Redskins backup quarterback Mark Sanchez. Originally from Long Beach, California, Sanchez was drafted 5th overall by the New York Jets in 2009. Look for him to be a serviceable backup for the Redskins the rest of the year.
Geico makes it so easy to manage my policy. With an app that lets me pay my bill, add a vehicle, or even file a claim, it's not just easy. It's aerobics in a recliner easy.
And plank. Smooth it. Shimmy. Woo. And step, swivel. Keep it going. Kick, hold. Kick it out, and kick, and kick.
It's not just easy, it's Geico easy.
Feel the bird.
Hey sports fans, two-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark and Pacific Dental Services have joined up to bring Redskin fans a chance to win free NFL Legend experiences. Go to www.garyclarkinc.com/fans to register for a chance to win. Good luck.
Welcome to the Sports Bar Challenge. In this week's game, we have the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Seattle to play the Seahawks. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Seahawks. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Seahawks. Greavy's likes the Seahawks. Hard Times Cafe of Fairfax likes the Seahawks. Harry's Ale House in Fredericksburg likes the Seahawks. And Nando's Peri Peri Chicken likes the Seahawks. Look for this to be a very high-scoring game, but pick Seattle in a rout over San Francisco.
On this week's What's Bugging You segment, my son, Nathaniel Clark, wants to tell us what's bugging him about this NFL season.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel Clark, and I'm a 4th grade Redskins fan. What's bothering me this NFL season is that I'm too short to actually see what's going on the field, and I have to look at the 2 screens on the side of the stadium. That's what's bothering me this NFL season. Let's go Skins!
It is through our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light again. I would love for you to pick up my book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory. If not for yourself, a loved one, or a friend, pick it up for someone that's going through a tough time. You can purchase it on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble in both paperback or ebook. For my autographed copy, go to my website at www.donnajhopkins.com and help someone get to the other side of victory.
I, as the fan of the week this week, we just want to say thank you to the Redskins. Been coming here for 54 years, starting at RFK Stadium and ending at the Super Bowl this year, we hope.
Well, the Minnesota Vikings put the Green Bay Packers to bed in a game that they had to win. But the most impressive thing about that win is the play of Kirk Cousins. I'm talking about his execution, his long ball, but it was what he did with his feet. Yeah, he ran the ball. Can you believe that? Well, this week they'll go on the road to face the 8-3 New England Patriots that beat the Jets. But Brady didn't care about the records that he set. He said that it's about winning. And this week, I must say, Gary Clark said, never bet against Brady. Well, in this case, don't bet against Brady. Pick the Patriots.
Minister of Information here, picking the game. Chicago going to the Giants. Chicago 8-3, one of the teams I told you to watch. The Giants played better last week, could be dangerous, running the ball. That's what they have right now. But when you look back at it, Chicago has an outstanding defense. Quarterback is starting to play. They will go to New York and do it their way.
We have the Chargers traveling to Pittsburgh. You know what? I never bet against Brady. I don't really bet against Ben too often either, unless he's playing Brady. You know what? Chargers are playing great. LA, movie stars, Hollywood. But pick Pittsburgh to kick that butt. 100%.
Somehow 2 weeks ago I was in the lead and now I'm not. I was pencil whipped. Let's take a look at this week. Indy at Jacksonville. And Gary and Mike are going rogue this week. They're going Jacksonville, Minnesota at New England. Tony is the only one picking Minnesota. Giants at Chicago at New York Giants. Everybody is picking Chicago except Gary. LA Chargers at Pittsburgh. Everybody's picking Pittsburgh except Mike, LA. And Cleveland at Houston. Everybody's picking Houston except Gary. He's going Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield, who I told you we should have tried to draft Tony. Okay, back to you.
I told you guys that it was going to happen, and you have to worry. It's going to be some changes this week. And Gary, you forget that New England. But what are this team, very quickly, what does this team need to do to win, guys?
Well, Tony, I'm sticking up my 3 fingers. That means all 3 phases of this team has to play.
All right, you heard it from Donna Hobson. I'm going to give you my tip. Don't sleep on it. They can beat Philadelphia, but they have to get prepared for it. And forgive my guys for being so hard on the defense this week. They weren't that hard on the offense. I tell you, I'm surprised. I better get back in the studio because something's up. So as I tell you guys, we'll see you next week, hopefully with a win. And I'm going to keep my beard white as long as they're in the playoff. We'll see you next week in a minute.
Defense.
Tony, good news. The Redskin Magazine, Inc. Minority Scholarship Contest is back again this year. And we're encouraging all seniors to submit essays on the subject. Do you think the Voting Rights Act of 1965 impacts your rights today? Why or why not? And you can submit your essays to redmagplus.com. Once on the website, you go to Youth Sideline. That gives you all the instructions on the essay, how to submit it. And all we can say is they're great prizes, so best of luck to all the writers out there.